You gotta motivate.
Get up and keep going.
Celebrate.
This life you've been holding.
Demonstrate
your love and devotion.
And everybody get up and get up. It's time to get it moving, y'all. Step up your game. You gotta motivate.
Get up and keep going.
Celebrate.
This life you've been holding.
Demonstrate
your love and devotion.
And everybody get up and get up. Motivate.
Get up and keep moving.
Celebrate.
This life is no illusion.
Demonstrate
the skills you've been using.
And everybody get up and get up.
And welcome back to yet another review by Zombill. In today's review, we're going to be taking a look at two tanks that was sent on to me by Beauticig, which you can find right here at this web address. So, before we go down to the table and get started on this, I must point out I did receive these free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion of the products will remain true, honest, and accurate as always. Okay, so here you have the Viking, or I should say the Viking and the Thor. So we're going to concentrate on both of these tanks. These are pretty much the same except for the Thor has airflow control. So we're going to look at the Viking first. So this is the Viking's packaging. Pretty nice presentation. Now, on the side of the packaging here, you can see it says so the tank pretty much comes with the 1.4 ohm dual coil head on the inside, already pre-installed, and then you have the additional coil head here, which we'll take a quick look at because the coil head works the same on all the Phoenix line. They made it universal. You have 4 juice flow holes, and then you have your airflow at the bottom here. To relatively about 2.5 millimeter size holes on both sides of the pin. Cotton wick is easy to get burned. When filling the E-Liquid the first time, please wait 5 minutes to at least fully prime the atomizer, making sure that enough E-Liquid is inside the tank before vaping. Any burn, taste, or non-working happens by careless or unintentional usage. Please do change the new coil head. At the bottom here, you can see that little hole there. It's about a 1 millimeter hole. You have 3 of those on the bottom. Then you have the 1.3 milliliter tank, and you have a removable drip tip. Now I'll show you what it looks like broken down. So here you have the whole thing broken down. You have your base, which your coil head goes in. Just simply screw that in. Then you have the base to the tank section. Screw that in there. Then you have this central shaft, which screws in to the base. You have your tank, which goes in there. Then you have your top piece that screws in. And your drip tip. Now basically you fill this up the same way you would any bottom coil clearomizer. You're going to take and you're going to put E-Liquid down here like so. We'll be using a little bit of 24/7 cinnamon. So you want to make sure that you put the liquid down the side, and you want it to go right up to that little shaft there. Just like so. So you want your liquid level to be about right there. Now, I suggest that you take and you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops down into your shaft here so that it can soak up that liquid. Those cotton wicks can soak up that liquid. Then you just screw it back together, and that completes the Viking. So we're going to set this aside. Now we're going to talk about the Thor. We've seen the box earlier. Now the back side here has some information about it. Comes with the 2 replaceable atomizers, extra rubber seals, and a user manual. And of course the side of this one shows the Thor. And there you have the information on it. The inside, you get a user manual. It's pretty detailed. And here's the contents of the Thor. Like I said before, you get the 2 coil heads, you get the Thor itself, and you get some additional gaskets or rubber ground. The Thor is pretty much the same, except for the detailing. The detailing is a little bit different. This here is different than the Viking. See, the Viking has this style here, whereas the Thor has this style. The other difference is down here they have an AFC, which is an airflow control ring, and they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have 4 different airflow options for this. I'm not exactly sure about the sizes, but I do know that the biggest setting looks to be about a 2.5 milliliter in size. So basically this breaks down the exact same way that the Viking does, and you fill it up pretty much the same way as you would the Viking. So I'm going to fill this up, and then we're going to go back up to main view and show it in action. Alright, so here are the 2 tanks in all their glory. We've got the Viking here, and we've got the Thor right here. Now the Thor is the one that has the AFC on it, okay? And the Viking is the one that has the 3 air holes on the base. Plus, you can tell just by looking at them up close, they kind of have different designs. But they both hold the same amount of liquid. They use the same kind of coil heads. They have the same style drip tips that come with them. And, you know, the one thing that I did forget to point out in the video is that each one of these tanks, see if I can get a little up close here with this. Well, the sunlight might not show it, but there we go. You can see that it has the Viking laser etched on there, along with the Phoenix, and the back of that has the Phoenix symbol. Pretty much the same way with the Thor, except it's going to have the Thor name on one side. So, alright. Now, the other thing I want to point out is that this is the Thunderbolt E-Cig that the Phoenix line has. I'm going to do a separate video about the Thunderbolt. So which of these 2 should I start with? Well, let's see. We'll go with the Viking first. Now, I have the Thunderbolt set to 16 watts. And Of course, you know the coil head reads 1.4 ohms because it's a dual coil head. And I've got some, I believe this is the Pumpkin Spice by 24/7 is in this one. Very nice. Very nice. The Viking has some really good airflow, and you know, considering all things, I would not have to modify the airflow that is on the base of this, because typically, like with the Kanger EVODs or the Kanger Pro tanks, I always have to drill out the tiny air holes that they have at the base. But there's plenty of airflow that's getting to this. So the Viking definitely has some really good airflow. Now, let's try out the Thor. Now the Thor, I've got some cinnamon by 24/7 in here, and I've got that on my MJ Tech Ola X, which we're going to be firing this at 5.5 volts, which of course you know the coil head is 1.4 ohms. So let's have a vape. Very good, very good. And I've got this on the widest setting that the airflow control ring will offer me. Now, if I was to put this, say, down to the smallest air hole, let's see how that vapes. That is really tight and restrictive. The second largest, or I should say the second to the smallest. Okay, that one's not so bad. Then of course we have the third airflow setting. And then of course back to the largest. Now, as you can see, every time I went to change one of those airflow options, the vapor became more, and it became a little bit denser too. That's because once the airflow hits those coil heads, the vapor production is increased, as well as flavor, I might also add. So which of these two are the better tank? Well, the one thing that really nibs me about the Thor, which is the one with the airflow control, is that it should have two sides of airflow control. So there should be another hole on the opposite side of where the airflow control ring is. So that way you have more airflow production coming in. Now, of course, the user himself can actually correct that by drilling a hole into the opposite side, which I do have plans to do. This, however, in my opinion, the Viking has the better airflow. It just seems to vape better for some reason. Now we'll compare it to the Thor. Yes, I do believe that the Viking has better airflow. You know, all in all, the Viking has chromed brass for the material and Pyrex. The Thor has 303 stainless steel and Pyrex. So I think what it's going to come down to is the user. Personally, me, I prefer the Viking, which has the chrome brass material. Even though the Odin, or not the Odin, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The Thor, the Thor has the 303 stainless steel. So, really good tanks. Both of them are really good tanks. And as far as a starter kind of tank, that is what these tanks really represent. So, for wholesalers, vendors, and resellers, you can contact over here at www.beauticig.com. I'm also going to put some contact information right here on how you can get a hold of the representative that sent these on to me. Excuse me. So, I want to give a personal shout out to the person that sent these to me, which is Maggie. She works for Beauticig, and she actually manages the entire Phoenix line. So, thank you, Maggie, for sending these on to me. Very good, very good tanks, especially for people just starting out in vaping. So, I hope you enjoyed the review. Please subscribe to my YouTube. And as always, my peeps and peepettes, we're going to double toot this time. Happy vaping.